I'm Jim Lord for Real Estate Explained by Real Pros, and today we're going to talk about HOAs and how they affect your property. A lot of people don't understand what an HOA is. So an HOA stands for Homeowners Association. Basically, it's governed by a document called the CC&Rs, which is Covenants, Conditions, and Restrictions. It's the document that they put together when the development's going together and you're going to create a homeowners association. You could create a homeowners association at a later time. You'd have to have the majority of the homeowners agree to creating it. It would be something that would be tough to do. But typically a homeowners association is established when the developer is building the property. So he does his layout and then he files his CC&Rs with the state, and that's going to govern the property. So you create a homeowners association. Homeowners associations typically have a board, president of the board, and then board members, a treasurer, secretary, etc. What they do is they are responsible for adding conditions to the CC&Rs. They can do that by vote. Typically it takes a neighborhood vote and a certain percentage in the neighborhood to add into it. The other thing that they can do is that they just govern what goes on within the HOA. So what does go on within an HOA? Well, HOAs are designed to keep neighborhoods nice. That's the idea of them, is to eliminate blight. So a lot of neighborhoods will have restrictions on what you can do in your landscape, what colors you can paint your house, how often your house has to be painted, even down to if you can have dogs or cats. And then some restrictions are age restricted. U.S. law allows for certain types of discrimination, and that's reverse age discrimination. You're allowed to have a senior community. The way that the law provides for that is that a certain percentage of people have to be made up of a certain age group or older. So, and it's just let's face it, as you get older, you're a little less tolerant to some things, and it allows you to have a community where there's not children out playing in the front yard and things that, can tend to upset older people. So that's all part of HOAs. So what does the power of an HOA? Well, HOAs actually have a lot of power. Part of you buying a house is that you're agreeing to these CC&Rs. And the CC&Rs are sent to you. You have 5 days to review them. It's upon receipt of the CC&Rs. And you go through, and you should, when you're buying a house, read exactly what they say, because they're going to govern what you can do 100% with the front of your house. And it could govern about where you're allowed to park. It could govern about flagpoles. It could govern about satellite dishes. It could govern about plants. It could govern about dogs and cats. There's a huge group of things that the CC&Rs might cover. So it's very important that you read them. It's very important that you understand them. And then what you're going to want to do is know that you have to abide by them. And to change them is very difficult. Like I said, you have to get the majority to agree with you to make a change to them. If you don't follow them, typically in the CC&Rs there's remedies, and usually the remedies are in form of fines. And the way that these HOAs work is that if you say tear out all your landscaping in your front yard and you don't replace it with something that's appropriate with the HOA or acceptable with the HOA, that they can start fining you. And they fine you, and it might be $50 and then $100 and then $200, $300, blah, blah, blah. And eventually it becomes a pretty large sum of money. Well, let's say you just say, well, I'm not going to pay. You can't make me pay it. Well, you're wrong there. They can file a lien against your house, and if there's equity in your house, they might foreclose. They definitely will have the lien on there when you go to sell the house, which then they'll get paid on the HOA. Same with paying your dues. If you don't pay your HOA dues, and I hear people all the time, it's not fair that they're taking my house because I didn't pay my HOA dues. Well, it is fair because you agreed to the HOA dues when you bought the house. So it's no different than a mortgage payment. It's no different than anything else. You agreed to it. If you don't want to have to pay HOA fees, like I don't like to pay HOA fees, so I live in an area that doesn't have an HOA. What happens in those areas? If I get a neighbor that decides to buy a piece of garbage car and leave it out in front of his house, I have very limited recourse. I have to go to the city and fight about it. And if there happens to be a city ordinance against it, the city will help me take care of it. But with an HOA, it'd be a lot easier. HOA would just go over there and say, hey, get that piece of junk out of here. So there's pluses and minuses to not having an HOA, but you really have to understand what the documents are that govern it, and it's the CC&Rs. That's really what you need to be looking for. I'm Jim Lord for Real Estate Explained by Real Pros. I appreciate your time in watching this video today. Please like us on Facebook or subscribe to us or like us on Google. Visit our website, www.jimlordregroup.com. I appreciate it. Have a great day. Bye-bye.